Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Freeland here. I have got a story up on my screen for you. So, today we're going to talk about when we read a story, how not only how we can make our voice sound better, like we talked about yesterday, because we practiced it, we're also going to talk about how when we read, we don't read always one word at a time. We group our words into groups as we read. So as you get to be a stronger reader, your brain kind of looks ahead and it doesn't read just one word. It will chunk the words into groups. And so you'll read groups of words. And we'll talk about that when the story's done. But I'm going to play this story for you. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about the storyteller's voice as she's telling you the story and how she says some words fast and some words slow. And she groups her words into groups. All right, we're going to play the story.
And then she went, and that was neither three bears, who lived together in a house of their own in a wood. One of them was a little small wee bear, and one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great huge bear. One day, after they had made the porridge for their breakfast, they walked out into the woods while the porridge was cooling. And while they were walking, a little girl came into the house. This little girl had golden curls that tumbled down her back to her waist, and everyone called her Goldilocks. Goldilocks went inside. First she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, and that was far too hot for her. And then she tasted the porridge of the middle bear, and that was too cold for her. And then she went to the porridge of the little small wee bear and tasted that. And that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so well that she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks went upstairs into the bedchamber, and first she lay down upon the bed of the great huge bear, and next she lay down upon the bed of the middle bear, and then she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear, and that was just right. So she covered herself up comfortably and lay there till she fell fast asleep. By this time the three bears thought their porridge would be cool enough, so they came home to breakfast. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the great huge bear in his great gruff voice. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the middle bear in his middle voice. And then the little small wee bear looked at his, but the porridge was all gone. "Somebody has been at my porridge and has eaten it all up," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Then the three bears went upstairs into their bedroom. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the middle bear in his middle voice. And when the little small wee bear came to look at his bed, upon the pillow was a pool of golden curls, and the angelic face of a little girl snoring away fast asleep. "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Goldilocks jumped off the bed and ran downstairs, out through the door and along the garden path. She ran and she ran until she reached the house of the grandmamma. And when she told Granny all about the house where the three bears lived in the wood, Granny said, My, what a wild imagination you have, child."
Want to be the coolest kid in the kitchen?
So, boys and girls, you could see how that author was very animated in her voice. She read the story and she read it like she was reading the voices of the bears or Goldilocks. And also, she didn't read it like a robot, one word at a time. She talked like the people were talking. So if I'm going to do that while I read, I have to practice. So I have to read it more than one. And I'm going to make sure that I'm reading carefully, and I want to chunk it into sections. So if, for example, here's the page where the flea asks for a Kleenex, right? So if I read it like a robot, I'm going to say, no one heard his garbled plea. Does anybody have a tissue for B? So now I'm going to read it more in chunks like people speak. No one heard his garbled plea. Does anybody have a tissue for B? So boys and girls, see how after you've read it 1 or 2 times, you know the words, you begin to chunk them into sections. I'm going to show you again at the front of the book. Remember, the front of the book begins on a dark, dark night. So when I say it, I'm going to repeat the word dark, dark, but I know that it says it twice, so I'm going to say it a little bit faster. On a dark, dark night, on an old, old farm, in a rickety, crickety, tumble-down barn, everyone slept peacefully. So boys and girls, I didn't say it word for word. I put my dark, dark and my rickety, crickety together, and I read it in chunks. And your eyes kind of move ahead to say the chunk together once you've practiced a few times. So boys and girls, that's what we're going to do, is you're going to practice reading a book to be smoother and put the words in chunks or groups, and maybe begin to read a little bit like our storyteller read today. All right, I hope you do great. Good luck with your reading today.